Hello and welcome. Today is a really special day of celebrating 2 years of I Sang Anyway, a stepmom spiritual memoir of healing. And even though I'm not really feeling well today, um, I still wanted to show up for you and to let you know that you're not alone if you're feeling like things are tricky during the holiday season. We are at solstice, a period where the light and the dark are equal in this earth realm, and it can be quite difficult. So just want to acknowledge that. But yeah, I will be doing a little bit of a reading for you. There's my cat. And as an extra special treat, I am going to do some singing. I'm going to be singing a song that I wrote. I honestly can't remember all of it because it's been so long since I've sung it, but I really want to share it with you from my heart to yours. It's called Plans for You. It's based off of my favorite Bible verse. I don't look at the Bible so much anymore, but I still consider it a valuable book. It does have wisdom in it. And my favorite verse is Jeremiah 29, verse 11. And this is for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Still remember it after all these years. All right, there is one person. Hello, hello. Please comment to say where you are watching from. And I would love to know who's here. I'm going to start singing soon, and then I'm going to read from my book. And I had really hoped, oh, now there's two people. Hello, hello. Please comment where you're watching from, who you are, if you want to share. So for anyone who is just jumping on here, I had hoped that there would be $2 books. In fact, they, I think it's Mercury retrograde, bumped it up to $7. But if you want to get the hardcover copy, that is, I'm posting the link. So that's where you can get the $7 book hardcover. There, it looks like there's only maybe a couple copies left at that price. So grab it while you can. I'm going to go ahead and start singing. I'm just putting in the comments. The link is for your $7 book. All right. Perfect. So much love. I'm just going to sing and see what I can remember, because I used to sing this song all the time and I stopped for a while, but I sang anyway. Let's bring this to you. Many miles of hurting, always wondering why, wondering about the future while looking toward the sky. Don't know where you're going, the decisions are so hard. You wish there were directions for this journey you've been on. But don't be afraid, 'cause I have plans for you. Plans to make you prosper and not to harm you. See, that's where I forget it. Don't be afraid. I have plans for you. Plans to make you prosper and not to harm you. I will give you hope and a future too. I am always here. I'll never leave you. And there's so much more, but I'm not remembering at this moment. So sending you so much love. I'm going to sing the chorus one more time, and then I'm going to read from I Sang Anyway on the 2-year anniversary. 2 years. Woohoo! Don't be afraid. I have plans for you. Plans to make you prosper and not to harm you. I will give you hope and a future too. I am always here. I'll never leave you. Don't be afraid. Yes, I have plans for you. So much love. All right, now reading from I Sang Anyway. 2 years ago, I published this book on 12/21/21 at 12:21 p.m. And it is really an accomplishment that I am so grateful and proud to be a part of sharing for you, because this is not just my story. This story is your story too. Every one of you watching this video, you will see yourselves in this book at some point. You will see the questions for reflection and the wisdom, the healing wisdom at the end of every single very brief chapter. Every chapter is written so briefly so that you only have time for one page. Great, because that's about how long the chapters are. I'm going to jump into chapter 18, and this is called Dirge. Every chapter has a musical title, and there is a definition for each of the chapter titles. Dirge, a lament for the dead, especially one forming part of a funeral rite. And then there is like a subtitle under each that originally, just so you know, that was the original title of the chapter until I added the musical theme and came up with the title. Which, by the way, was inspired by Maya Angelou. Let's not forget. Let's give her some beautiful credit for the energy I wanted to bring into the title. I sang anyway. Okay, Trisha. The turning point to my religious beliefs happened when my friend Trisha passed away. She was only 34 years old when her 7-year-old daughter found her lifeless body. After Trisha died, I couldn't bring myself to go to the same church we had gone to. I tried a couple of other churches, but it wasn't the same. My son and her daughter had gone to daycare together as toddlers. I grieved the loss of my friend. Shortly after she died, I experienced what some would say was Trisha's spirit. She did a couple of things to get my attention. This became the beginning of my spiritual awakening. I would never see things in the same way again. The first event happened when I visited a local crystal shop. For some time, I had felt called to go to that store. As I entered the store, I noticed that a woman working there looked familiar. And then I remembered I had met her at Trisha's funeral. She had worked with Trisha and was the owner of the crystal shop. I learned many new things about spiritual healing, crystals, tarot cards, and all the things that my mother had forbidden. I was intrigued and felt drawn to learn everything I could. I remember that when I first called upon the angels and had a tarot reading, I truly believed something awful would happen. Would God's hand come down and shake his finger at me? Nothing bad happened. Instead, I feel free. About a week after meeting Trisha's former colleague, my son accidentally broke my laptop. I looked online to see if I could find any local laptops for sale from a private seller. Sure enough, the person I ended up buying a laptop from lived right next to where Trisha had lived. and his family was good friends with hers. Out of all the people who would have a laptop for sale, what were the odds that they would be Trisha's neighbor? Later, I consulted at least 3 mediums to ask about Trisha, just because I really missed her. Each time they shared that Trisha was still with me at times and that she was supporting me from the other side. Listening to my soul. After Trisha passed away in 2015, I learned about meditation techniques. A year later, I went with my son to a mindfulness camp in Western New Hampshire. There, I practiced meditation and mindfulness and learned about the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. I learned how to slow down and truly hear my soul, my inner voice. I realized that much of my anxiety came from ignoring my inner voice. Ignoring my inner voice meant I was not fully loving myself. I didn't learn to love myself in a linear fashion. It was a long journey. I spent many years believing the lies that others told me. Oh, you're not good enough. You're too big for that. You're not smart enough. You should just be grateful that anyone likes you. Looking back, I would have told myself so much earlier that this is for you. You are enough. Your heart is too big to be treated that way. You are smarter than you know. Getting emotional here. You are someone who anyone would be lucky to know. Instead, I decided one day I was done being miserable. I decided this on several different occasions, and each time I chose the law of attraction: decide, believe, receive, to spark the start or rise of my healing journey of love. I learned about the law of attraction from Esther and Jerry Hicks' book, Ask and It Is Forgiven. And it is given, Their philosophy suggests that positive thoughts attract positive events and negative thoughts attract negative events. Through changing our thought process, we can influence our outcomes. And here's a highlighted piece of wisdom for you. It's going to look like this with a microphone. The most important step is to choose yourself. You must choose yourself over and over again. You must learn to fight for yourself. You must learn that you are worth fighting for. You are an amazing creation with a unique set of gifts for the world. Healing myself. I need some water. Let's stop for a little water break. As I would say on Peloton hydration station, sometimes makes me cringe if I'm not in the mood. All right, healing myself. Part of my self-love was rooted in counseling. A counselor told me about thought stopping and becoming aware of our thoughts. She taught me about how to flip negative thoughts into positive ones. I realized that my dad's negative words to me growing up had continued to follow me and manifested as my inner voice. And as I became aware and began to change that inner voice, my outer actions began to change. I signed up for many kinds of training. I read books on leadership. I remained open to learning as a journey and not a destination. I studied how people I admire lived their lives. I began taking care of my nutrition and my fitness. I went running during lunchtime. I stopped eating fast food and drinking soda. I began to buy organic food. The year my gallbladder was removed, just 2 years before my separation from my first husband, I had to learn how to eat differently because I could no longer eat the way I used to without getting sick. I went to a naturopathic doctor for the first time. When I told her that I was miserable in my job at the time, she said, "It's because you're a healer." With each new experience, I gained a little more confidence. Slowly, bit by bit, I began to view myself differently. When I decided that I would lose 60 pounds, I looked in the mirror and began to excitedly visualize becoming my future, healthier self. The trick was I thought about myself. I worked on reversing my limiting beliefs and I lost that weight. Hey, thanks for joining. Comment please when you're when you're here. I worked on reversing my limiting beliefs and I lost that weight. I began to harness the power of my thoughts through meditation. At first, I could only meditate for a couple of minutes, then 4 minutes. Eventually, I increased my time and tried different kinds of meditation. With patience and practice, I began to expand my consciousness and realize that all self-imposed limitations are a lie. Limitations set by others on me are a lie. And on you. When I cleared my false beliefs, I created space for new, supportive beliefs to enter. I began to believe I am unstoppable, helping others heal. In 2017, I became certified in reading angel cards and a Reiki master. In 2018, a certified holistic life coach. And in 2020, I became certified in transcendental meditation. In 2021, and by the way, 2022 was Akashic Records. Anyway, in 2021, I began to further trust my inner voice, and my spiritual knowing accelerated. I discovered my mediumship abilities, communicating with loved ones who have passed on, and remembered that I am a witch. I didn't so much experience a particular memory, it was more of an inner awakening to that aspect of myself. I felt a deep knowing. I contacted my friend Bianca, who is a witch, and we discovered through conversation over coffee that I instinctively know how to perform rituals and do and know so many things that most baby witches do not. I wouldn't be surprised if secretly it runs in my blood. Sometimes, hello, comment below, please. Hello. Sometimes the most difficult part of the process of loving myself was receiving. If I faltered at all on my beliefs, I didn't receive what I desired. Oh. And then I had to start over. This is how meditation, patience, and practice became so valuable to me. Finally, when I added positive affirmations to my practice, I began to accelerate the manifestation of my goals. Decide, believe, receive, and never give up. Key, never give up. I would be doing myself and my readers, that's you, a disservice if I didn't mention the importance of forgiveness during the process of learning to love yourself. First, I had to forgive myself for treating myself so terribly because of my traumatic experiences. Next, I had to work on forgiving my dad and others who wronged me. This did not mean I accepted their behaviors. Hell no. It meant that I let go of my clinging to the rage within me. The rage only poisoned me. It did nothing to make anyone pay for their actions. With each forgiveness, I allowed space for more love to enter my heart. I allowed space for others to love me. I allowed room for me to love myself. Loving yourself is a practice and a journey. When you open yourself to love, miracles begin to happen. This is how I blossomed from a wallflower into a rose. Healing wisdom. I am sharing some of my inner knowledge and some knowledge gained through reading or experience here. The earth herself holds the secrets of healing within all her elements. Walk barefoot on her, close your eyes, and find the root of your pain. Weep into your bathwater. Let me say that again. Sob big cries into your bath. Let it out. You must let it go or your pain will consume you. Breathe the beautiful air as deeply in and out as you can during meditation or yoga. Let the rage, pain, sadness, and confused hurt go into the earth. Let it drain out of you with the bathtub water. Scream and cry into the wind or as you are driving your car. Let it burn away. Give it to the earth, give it to the heavens. Let the universe take it from you. Stand in a forest and lean against a tree. Close your eyes and feel how nature holds and supports you in love. Hello, sending you love. Thank you for watching. I love you. Please comment where you are watching from. Questions for reflection. What are the unique gifts that you bring to the world? If you began to choose healing, how much more energy would you have to share these gifts with others? All right, that is the end of that chapter. And let's see, are there any requests for what you would like to hear? You know what? Let's go to chapter 23, Serenade. And then after that, I am going to do a surprise giveaway of a book signed by me. And if you comment, if you like and subscribe if you like this video, you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Rachel Merrill Channels. And then you comment the name of the book. That's all you have to do. Comment the name of the book. You have to do this by, it's 12:22. Awesome. Do this by midnight tonight. So by the end of today, which is 12:21, then you will be entered to win a free book from me. I'm going to send it to you. We will be in touch. All right. Last chapter that I'm reading, and then I will let you go on your beautiful way. Serenade. Serenade, a classic instrumental chamber work similar to a small-scale symphony, usually performed for social entertainment of the upper classes. Chapter 23. Although I never gave birth to the daughter I wanted, my stepdaughter Ginger became my daughter, born through my heart. My stepson Greg is very special to me too. I met Ginger and Greg when she was 4 and he was 10. Even before we started dating, Conan wanted to see how I would act with a casual encounter with his kids. He invited me to meet his kids at the beach at the beginning of August 2012. I brought Gabriel with me. I knew that Ginger was special as soon as I met her because she insisted on covering my legs with seaweed. I laughed and let her place the seaweed on me, unfazed by her boldness. I laughed. I already said that. As she was heaping the seaweed onto my legs, a seagull swooped in and grabbed her uneaten sandwich next to her. She became outraged, and that was when I saw how brightly her spirit burned. She could be a bright, loving child, or she could be hellfire. Because I met Greg when he was a bit older, and he was very loyal to his mother, he remained a bit distant with me. Although it took 5 years for Ginger to like me because of what she was being told by her mother, when she finally did begin to like me, we became close. She sometimes called me mommy, although I made it very clear I would never replace her mother. At first, if Ginger badmouthed her mom, I defended her. Then eventually I just listened quietly and said, I'm sorry she treats you that way. I started documenting and reporting their mother's abuse in July 2017, although a police report from February 2017 and my own memory document the abuse of my stepchildren before then. Their mother, Mary Jane, mostly preferred verbal abuse, although sometimes her rage would cause her to slap the kids around. One time, Greg told me she threw a lamp at him. Mary Jane was pale with many freckles and wore her tightly curled black hair pinned back in a bun. She wore wire-rimmed glasses and a perpetual frown. Mary Jane liked to work at local New Hampshire farms that sold produce at farmers markets, and she had rough worker hands. I found it interesting that she, like my dad, enjoyed farming. I often saw how, when I visited the local farmers market on Saturdays, I often saw her when I visited the local farmers market on Saturdays, and she always scowled at or ignored me. Without fail, she would target Ginger with her abuse and then send long emails or texts to my husband calling him names. Her favorite name for my husband was Conan the Moron. Sometimes she called Ginger Little Conan the Moron. In text messages and emails to Conan, but never to my face, she called me anything that started with an R, but was not Rachel. For example, Rev Gel Wriggles or Ragu. She also had nicknames for my son that were anything but his actual name. Each time I heard a story of Greg and Ginger's abuse, a story of horror, I was triggered by the memory of my father standing over me screaming. I felt the tightness in my throat and the fear constricting my chest. I could see his blazing brown eyes in my mind's eye. Each word of rage in her text messages or emails to my husband felt like my dad contacting me from my past. I had moved 2,000 miles away from him, but here I was with her. To me, they could both be terrifying. They both spewed anger and hatred. And here I was, married to Mary Jane's ex-husband. Even though they were divorced, she maintained an invisible cord to my husband. She did not want him to be married to her, but she did not want him to be married to anyone else. Her attempts to control him fed her control addiction. I asked my husband if she had always been this way and what happened to her. He explained that she had childhood trauma. He said that at the beginning of their relationship, she was fun and the life of the party. Then, after she had children, he began to see a different side of her. Her childhood trauma caused a deep sickness in her. Although I'm sure her friends and family saw the kind side of her, I didn't experience it. The year 2017 was also the year that Greg told my husband he wanted to move in with us full time. With a sense of relief, I contacted my attorney friend who had previously worked for Child Protective Services. I asked her to take the case and attended each meeting with her and my husband to prepare for court. During this time, I felt like I was under a kind of psychic attack from Mary Jane. I hired a shamanic healer and told him of my plight. I contributed to the attorney's legal fees and I went through the healing ceremony. I thought everything was on track. And then Mary Jane badgered Greg until he was guilted into changing his mind about wanting to live with us full time. Greg wanted full time, but she convinced him that 50-50 custody was in his best interest. Greg gave in, and then so did my husband because it felt like the easiest thing to do. After all, Mary Jane intimidated our attorney. In January 2018, my stepchildren began to live with us half of the time. So much happened in those 3 years. Mary Jane withheld multiple visits to our house, otherwise known as parental alienation. She would not allow Ginger and Greg to attend my husband's family's funerals. She did not allow Ginger and Greg to go to my son's birthday party because they had to have a traditional Sunday breakfast. She threw Ginger's new soccer shoes and shorts into the trash and left the trash bag on the side of the road in the rain on the day of her game. Mary Jane slapped Ginger's face because she couldn't find her gloves. Many other problems arose and were communicated through Ginger, Greg, and long, scathing emails and text wars with my husband. I often knew I had reached my limit when I felt pain and exhaustion in my body. For years, I didn't know what to do unless I was consulting with a counselor or spiritual healer. I had yet to learn to trust myself. Healing wisdom. When you are stressed, ritual can bring you a sense of peace into your being. Choose any or all of the following to step into serenity. Light a candle with reverence. Rub essential oils on your candle or your wrists. Take a salt bath. Say a prayer. Go to counseling. Get creative with your art, your music, or however you would like to express yourself in a way that brings you joy. Meditate. When you breathe in, imagine the breath is coming up from the earth and out through the crown of your head, and vice versa. Let the angelic realm fill you with golden breath from above and let it flow down through your body into the earth. Listen to beautiful music. Hold crystals to ground yourself. Place crystals in your bath. Lay on your bed and cover your body with crystals. Questions for reflection. How do you know when you have reached your limit and need some self-care? What signs can you become aware of to prevent yourself from feeling burned out? What can you do differently next time? So after reading those couple of chapters, and it's been a couple of years since this book was published, I cannot emphasize enough about how these spiritual practices that helped me are simply that. They are a practice. And that means that sometimes, just like for me, for you, you will need to come back to the practices and remind yourself what helps me to feel grounded, to feel good in my body, to feel safe, especially with the energies of 2024 coming up. Wow, there's so much that I feel we are on the precipice of. And it is so important to come into your safety of your body. You are safe here. You are safe here. And again, practice trusting yourself. Choose yourself every day. I love you. I love you. I love you. And please do comment if you want to be entered to win a copy of this book. That's all you need to do. Like, subscribe the YouTube video, like the Facebook video, whatever you're watching, and comment to win a copy of this book. I'm going to sign it for you. I'm going to send it to you for free. And only one person is going to win this. You have until the end of today, 12/21, to comment and win this book. And otherwise, I was hoping to give you the link for $2 books, but Mercury retrograde made it so that they are $7. Anyway, the link is in the comments below to get your $7 book on Amazon, or you could get it for free, and all you need to do is comment. So I love you so much. These are practices that I myself am going to come back to. And I hope you do too, because this book, I wrote it for you. Thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Have a wonderful day.